Welcome. You're listening to Sports Econ 101, the show where we discuss sports topics from a business perspective. I'm your host, Edward Brown, along with my co-hosts, Russell Jackman and Mike McDowd. At each commercial break, we're going to ask a trivia question. This time, we have a theme, and it's called Film Characters. And I got to say that in looking at these questions, you better get at least 2 out of 3. Hopefully, you'll get it 3 out of 3, but at least 2 out of 3. You guys will do well. So we got a lot of good stuff to talk about. I love this. I love these stories about the WNBA. We got to get Enes Kanter, Freedom, and Royce White, who's running for governor, I believe it is, of Minnesota, and he wants to play in the WNBA. He says he feels like he wants to be the first Black trans athlete lesbian. Okay, let's see how that goes. I actually think that they'll get more viewership if they have guys like this playing in the WNBA. What do you think?
100%. I mean, look, NBA is insane, but it's all there's so much. I hate to say this, but the fact of the matter is a lot of politics in this league. I wish it wasn't. I just want to see them play basketball. But yes, people will watch it. But you know what? It'll absolutely shift the dynamics of the entire league if it happens.
The guys though are going to have to learn to play with a smaller ball. They're used to playing with a bigger ball.
Of course. And yes, you and I have said that countless times. It's smaller basketball. It's a different game. Okay,
right.
It's a different game.
And when we come back, also Russell had brought up a few things. The death of Don Nelson. Mike Krukow is retiring. Those local here know about that. Roger Craig, Hall of Fame, but he's also got potentially dementia.
Terrible.
Vascular dementia, yeah.
Terrible news. It's just awful.
It seems like it's just a really good guy. And then
I'll share some insight on that too.
About the 49ers, injuries potentially due to the substation, electronic waves and stuff. Okay, audience, stay with us. Sports Econ 101 will be right back. Don't touch that dial. Welcome back to Sports Econ 101. I'm Edward Brown, along with Mike McDowd and Russell Jackman. All right, guys, we're going to start off with the death of Don Nelson. I mean, how old was he?
86.
85. 86.
Okay.
85 and change, yeah.
And Russell had off air was telling me about
86.
how, and I had forgotten about this, that during the Maui wildfires, he really came through as a good Samaritan to a lot of people there.
Yeah, there's lots of articles on him feeding victims and opening his home and his properties up to people who were refugees from the fires, and that he provided free housing to the victims, and he had rental homes, and he made those available to people who were victims from the fires. And I mean, people revere him in Maui. I mean, they really do. I don't know. The thing about Don Nelson that I know about, I mean, you met him or you knew him, but from what I know, people either loved Don Nelson tremendously or they couldn't stand him. It was he was one of those polarizing people that just would, motivate guys to become incredible basketball players. But we also know that his friction between himself and Chris Webber led to the breakup of the two of them, and eventually both of them were gone from the Golden State Warriors. But then you had Nelson return and bring us the We Believe season, with Baron Davis and so forth, with the huge dunk on Karolinko and all that.
Yeah.
So he brought us Dirk Nowitzki. He's the guy that found and cultivated Dirk Nowitzki and made him an NBA champion and one of the, top 50 NBA players of all time. You could easily argue that Dirk was one of them. And the NBA, I mean, Nelly Ball brought that small, up-tempo, fast-paced, center shooting three type basketball before it was
cool. Run TMC. It was Run TMC.
Run TMC, but it was also Nelly Ball when it was in Dallas, when he had Jason Kidd and Dirk Nowitzki over in Dallas. He had that style. He wanted centers that weren't these big hulking low post guys. You wanted guys that could shoot distant threes. You know, I hate to say it and bring up the name Vic Alexander. For you have to be a real Warriors fan to remember what I call big, thick Vic Alexander, who couldn't block a shot to save his life, but shot threes. You know, but he was terrible. He was just yes.
Go ahead, Mike.
And furthermore, let's tell people who Don Nelson is. A lot of people don't know who Don Nelson is. And that's a fact. Because I got 14 years in the NBA. I believe he was a 5-time NBA champion, Lakers, Celtics. Believe it or not, played with the Chicago Zephyrs. You ever heard of them? Yes. So, he was one of those guys, obviously a stalwart, 10 points per game, about 4.5 rebounds per game. Good, very good player. Tough, physical. I can tell you, Russ says, I met him. I didn't just meet him. I dealt with him almost every night. I covered the Warriors for 3 years, and he was the guy I was covering. And I got to tell you, sometimes he was a pain in the ass. And he wasn't very respectful to me. I was respectful to him. I was a young guy. I get it. I was the young guy, and I was. But there were times when but now with that said, I also got to talk to him a little bit by myself, away from everybody, and he was pretty cool to me. But I look at it now and I should have said, I shouldn't have been I should have pushed back, a little bit. You couldn't really do that with him because he'd yell at you and, he'd always ask, well, how come you guys aren't talking to me about the free throw shooting? And he'd always talk to us about that. The free throw shooting with the Warriors. It's like, dude, let's talk about something else. We get you shot well tonight, but it was a frustrating time for the Warriors. You had Mitch Richmond, you had Jimmy Hardaway, Chris Mullin, and then Chris Webber comes in, and the dynamics completely shifted. And sadly, he should have worked with Chris because Chris was a freaking dynamite player. He was. He proved himself. So, with all due respect, and I'm going to say this about, Coach, definitely a good human being, I believe. I didn't go out and drink beers with him, no way. But I think overall, pretty good heart, a good man. Rush just articulated it very well at the kindness that he demonstrated. And, guys, when it's all said and done, it's what you did to help your fellow man. It's not what you did on the basketball court. So, to Russ's point, God bless him for that.
Yeah. All right. Hey guys, let's move on. Roger.
Wait, I was gonna say, and there's always that one shot that he took in the NBA Finals that bounced off the rim and went way up in the air and then went back down. That's always known as the Nelson shot. As the to win a game, if you hit a basket and it just luckily falls right in. He had that was the true luck of the Irish for Don Nelson and the Celtics. I think that was maybe like 64, 65 or 65, 66, something like that in the finals. All right, Go ahead.
All right, so moving on to Roger Craig, for the 49ers, finally getting into the Hall of Fame.
Should have been in soon. That's my first comment. Is that
should have been
the first ballot Hall of Famer.
A lot of us still remember that fumble. And that's
but that doesn't define his career. He was on the cover of Sports Illustrated.
You're right. It's one of those. It just really sweet. He seems like a really nice guy, and he just did. How many Super Bowls did he win with them? Three. Yeah.
3. Not only that, beloved. Yeah. On some by his teammates, by the fans, the media. He always had this incredibly, gorgeous white smile. And the good-looking guy, great-looking guy. But he had this spirit about himself. He was tough as nails. Came from an extremely poor background, as some of you may know. His mother raised 7 kids. His mother worked at night. Father passed away at a young age. And so he came from nothing. Him and our friend Jamie Williams, Dr. Jamie Williams, tied in, childhood best friends, elementary school. They went to high school in Davenport, Iowa, and then they played at the University of Nebraska together, Oh, lastly, they won a world championship with the 49ers. I mean, come on. And Jamie was the introduction speech to introduce Roger, and it was just it was magical. It really was.
Is he suffering from CTE because they were talking about potential
No,
dementia?
not so much. Not that so much.
It's vascular dementia.
Okay.
So they believe that it is caused by the, all the hard jarring and the concussions, and so, but it's not dementia. It's
But
not
it's
it's not
not
it's
the
it's not
Okay.
Alzheimer's. So
Oh,
excuse me,
I
it's
know,
not
but still,
But
Alzheimer's.
it's equally
apparently
devastating. It's equally devastating because what it is it's the blood flow that goes to all of his particular extremities are slowly getting cut off, and so he's going to be like paralyzed. And
but
Did
it is caused from foot. They're saying it is caused from football. All the hits.
well, they don't know for sure. I mean, there are genetic predispositions to it as well, but they don't think the
Okay.
jarring and the punishment helped.
Okay, guys, let's go to our first commercial break trivia question here. And again, we're talking film characters. I'm going to name the person in the film, not the real name, but the character, and you're going to tell me what movie it is. All right?
Forrest Gump.
Forrest Gump. No. Then the answer would be Forrest Gump. Forrest Gump. Okay, and again, you know the rules. Don't say
Popeye?
we get back. Okay, ready? Norman Bates.
Oh, okay.
Easy.
Tell me what I know. I
Yeah.
told you the first two are going to be easy. All right.
Oh.
That's our trivia question. Norman Bates. What movie do we associate Norman Bates with? All right. Audience, stay with us. We'll be right back. Don't touch that.
Breathe.
Welcome back to Sports Econ 101. One more time, I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Russell Jackman and Mike McDowd. Okay, guys, what movie do we associate the name Norman Bates with? And Russell, go ahead and do that. The noise again.
Read it for us, Russell.
Breathe.
That is not the name of the movie.
Alfred
That's not-
Hitchcock at his
It's wrong. It's
absolute
not the name of the
best.
movie.
What's the name of the
Alfred
movie?
Hitchcock at his absolute best. Psycho.
Psycho. Yeah. You know they use chocolate syrup for the shower scene.
Yes, because it was
Really?
the fake blood that they tried to use was too liquidy in the shower, and they said
They
didn't
tried
have
to
the
use
thickness.
newspaper ink, and it didn't work too well. Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Okay, so now let's move over. Go ahead, Mike.
And real quickly, can I just add something about the Roger Craig and Jamie Williams? I had the ability to have a brief dialogue with Jamie and just congratulated him on, the honor. And he said it was just, it was beyond words. So congratulations to both. Congratulations to both of them.
That is
well,
great.
Jamie is very articulate, so being a PhD himself, very well read.
Yeah, maybe we both get him on. To tell you the truth.
I love you.
Friend of the show.
Friend of the show, exactly. All right, I want to talk a little bit about the WNBA. It's funny, all these little controversies, in a way, may be the best thing the WNBA ever did with all this drama. So first of all, you have Caitlin Clark coming in, and suddenly she's got a target on her back. Then you have Sophie Cunningham coming to her defense and saying men don't belong in women's sports. Effectively, she was respectful, but that's what she said. And then now she's got a target on her back also for protecting her teammate. And then you get all these, I'll say woke coaches who just won't just come out and say, listen, men should not be playing with women. All right. So now you got Enes Kanter Freedom, who was an NBA player, 6'10", I believe, who says, he feels he's got his female side and he wants to play in the WNBA, and he's looked at the rules and said, I qualify. And now you have Royce White, who also played, I believe he played in the NBA himself. And he's about 6'8", and he's coming into his female side himself. And then you got that transgender person from France, I think. He's only about 6'4", I think, but he can dunk. And he's ready to come into the WNBA. So I think it'd be kind of cool to see, let's say, three of these guys come in, not a whole team's worth, three of them and two women, and see what happens. Go ahead, guys.
Hey, quickly, the headline really should be the WNBA is being absolutely forced to answer a question it never wanted to answer.
What is a woman? And why is it called WNBA? It's good. The W stands for woman. Well, Women's National Basketball Association. They're gonna have
Are
to
they
change
going to
that.
say how maybe they have to call it the I don't know
Sex.
the BNBA, the Biological National Basketball Association, or the
Well,
unbiological?
yeah, if somebody asked me what a woman is, I'd say someone with two X chromosomes, right?
Yeah, yeah.
That's a simple answer. It's not political. It's just boom. But I wonder what the NBA, the WNBA will do. Well, first of all, they have to get drafted. Do you think there will be a conspiracy not to draft these guys?
You know, I think they're going to have to come to. It's going to be a come to humanity kind of moment, or what's their stance going to be, and it's going to be one of those key questions where is it could literally devastate the league.
But it'll be good for ratings. Now, Russ, we know you watch the WNBA every night. What are your comments on that?
None.
You really
Okay.
watched it.
Well,
Um,
it'll be interesting. All right. Well, okay, then let's
you
move
know,
on. Oh, go
well,
ahead.
hold on. We had on our friend who was the high school volleyball player who was absolutely she
Peyton.
lost her scholarship to and so there's major evidence that males can absolutely um, badly hurt people, damage people. She lost her scholarship to play actually softball in college. She still has concussion problems. She has
Peyton McNabb.
psychological problems. And and I'm gosh, what was her name?
Peyton McNabb.
Uh, yeah, Payment Knife. Thank you. And you know what? You have to listen to women in this case. What do women want? It's not what men want. What do women want?
That's the whole idea about Title IX. Otherwise, it used to be, just have an intramural league, and whoever the best players are, it's based on merit, isn't it? Isn't that how people get drafted?
Or we're gonna have a co-ed league.
Or have a co-ed league? Yeah, that would
Yeah,
actually. Yeah, you know what? That would be kind of frustrating, I think, if the guys don't pass to the women. So they'd have to kind of make some kind of rules on that. It's like
yeah,
there's,
right. I think you have to make a rule. You have to pass, or you get penalized.
yeah, yeah.
I don't know.
You know what? There are some co-ed rules for, like, just kind of generic, rec leagues. And I think it's like on softball, you have to have at least two women, and there's certain rules that they put on specifically for that. But let's move on for just a minute here. So the Russ brought up a very interesting point before the show. The 49ers, Russ, talk about the 49ers and this substation and the potential injuries due because of it.
Well, for the last several years, the 49ers have led the league in injuries. And, when the 49ers moved from Hunters Point to Santa Clara, they built the Levi Stadium right where the practice field is, right adjacent to a power substation. And so people are now equating the frequent injuries. And there was just an announcement made this afternoon that it looks like Nick Bosa is going to be relegated to maybe, week by week determination as to whether he's going to be able to play at all this season or what weeks he's going to be able to play. And the Niners already, of course, had the terrible news that Pearsall was lost at the beginning of the of practice. He didn't even get on, the field for an actual, preseason game. And the Niners have, I think, around 20 players, 20 or more players that are listed on the injured list right now. And again, they haven't played one scrimmage game. They have their first scrimmage game this week against Tennessee in 2 days on Thursday.
Go ahead, Mike.
And people are wondering how they're going to get through with this.
Go ahead, Mike.
Well, furthermore, Russ, did you say there's allegations?
Yeah, well, it's more suspicion, you know. Of course,
Well, allegations don't mean anything. Where's the evidence?
there isn't. I mean,
Okay.
whatever.
Speculation. It's all speculation.
It
Yeah,
is
but they're-
speculation, and that's
Yeah, but
why.
they are
and that
finding,
is-
and they're mentioning this such Russ that there are finding, like if you put cell phones to your head compared to
Yeah.
earphones that are not connected, that just like connect, not the Bluetooth, but just regular. They are finding some either cancerous stuff or just some brain injuries. You got to figure it's microwave type stuff. So I don't know if it's a conspiracy. You got to figure with all this electronic stuff going on in the air. I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, why do people not want to live next to the substation or big not PG
Transformers, those transformers.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and also they have a lot of crazy chemicals that go around, to make those things work. There's a lot of crazy contamination goes on in those areas. It's not just electronic.
Okay, well then maybe that's one of the issues. Go ahead, Mike. You had your hand up. I choose Mike.
Okay, we jump to another topic real quick because there's three major sports business stories that we got to talk about, and it all affects college sports. Number one, and I don't know, a federal judge in Colorado ordered the NCAA to allow athletes from the high school class of 2022 to get an additional year of eligibility because they were the only class from 2020, 2024 that was not given an additional year of eligibility. So a federal judge has refused to stay her injunction. And so now all these athletes from 2022 must be given a year back, which means incredible financial opportunities, NIL, etc. And they have to all be reinstated. They were the only class within that period of time that was really ultimately discriminated against. So now those athletes are going to be have the opportunity to come back. So that's a huge story today.
Okay.
Good for them.
So
Let's put a pause on that because we're going to go to our second trivia question here. Again, I'm going to name the character in the movie. You tell me the movie. Dorothy Gale. All right. What movie do we associate that with? And now I got to give you my silly pun of the week. So many women say that their husbands never listen to them. I can proudly say that I've never heard my wife say anything like that, or maybe I don't know. Okay. All right, audience. That's our trivia question. Dorothy Gale. What movie do we associate Dorothy Gale with? Audience, stay with us. Sports Econ 101. We'll be right back. Don't touch that down. Welcome back to Sports Econ 101. One more time. Edward Brown here along with Mike McDowd and Russell Jackman. Second trivia question. Dorothy Gale. What movie do we associate with the name Dorothy Gale?
Wizard of Oz.
Wizard of Oz. Okay. Okay. Next, Mike, we're going to let you get the next one because I told you these first two were going to be easy. The next one is a little harder. All right. Mike,
Did you know that answer, Mike?
of course I did.
Of course you know.
Yeah.
Did you know that was Dorothy's last name was Gale?
In the movie, not
Yes.
in real life.
No.
Judy Garland, yes. Go ahead.
Yes. So basically, what the NCAA did, we just talked about athletes getting an additional year from 2022. So they tried to create a 5-for-5 eligibility system. So now the question is, what this really amounts to is NIL money, scholarships, rosters, transfer portals, millions of dollars for these athletes. Now, did the NCAA try to create its own legal nightmare by trying to draw this bright line between the old eligibility system and the new 5 for 5 model. So that's actually a good question. I don't know if you guys want to answer that. And there's even a bigger story after this one involving college sports. So it's I think it's a good question. Any thoughts?
I still don't understand the NIL that much. Where all this money is coming from and what it's for. Can you shed
Yeah,
some light on it?
yeah. I mean,
Can you educate me about it? I mean,
look,
they're not making, like Barbie dolls out of it.
well, the NIL is the next story. We've ordered the NCAA a year ago with the House had some legislation where essentially, the question is the NCAA trying to create a professional sports league? In other words, are we watching the birth of a true salary cap system in college athletics? Or is this just going to pertain to more legal battles with NIL? So that's a question that, because the framework allows schools to directly share revenue with athletes, as we all know, while third-party NIL deals are being scrutinized through the College Sports Commission, and the school payment pool is around 20 million annually at the outset, while outside NIL arrangements remain subject to review. So, you know what I'm saying? Does that make sense?
Yeah. I'm still trying to figure out the money side of it. Is it like, jerseys? Guy wears a certain jersey number with his name on it, and Deion
Well,
Sanders,
yes,
right?
yes. But I mean, for example, many teams, Notre Dame, Ohio State, just signed a big deal with, I think, Cisco or Notre Dame did, and they're going to have the patch right here, advertising patch on the.
Where's the
Yeah, but
player?
I'm just saying, those players will benefit from that. Those players will get a chunk of that. So
But NIL
they
stands for image likeness.
revenue sharing, and you see some of these athletes not doing TV commercials. So I mean, and it's going on at the local level too.
Yeah.
So the car dealers, the local, well, put it this way. Put it this way. I have reached out to many universities to try to get athletes on our show. Guess what? No,
Don't do it.
they want money. You got to pay them.
That's
I'm just telling
ridiculous.
you the reality. I'm just telling you the reality.
We should,
It's
we
it's
should
terrible.
charge them to be on our national show. Get the
Yeah, no,
exposure.
no. But that's what I've been told. It's very frustrating because, you know, back in the day we could get anybody we wanted to. In fact, I've reached out to big time college football coaches. And I guess for whatever reason in today's media landscape, all these universities where they used to like almost cater to me as a sports host and TV guy,
Yeah.
get back to me right away. Now, I'm lucky if they even acknowledge my email. It's
So how did so
bizarre.
how did so but if we were ESPN, it'd be a different story, right?
Yeah, but we got some street cred.
Oh,
We're
no,
on what,
I
5
know.
different
No,
networks?
you're 100% right. But if it's like when the ESPN has a guest on to
Oh
talk
yeah.
about something, right? I mean, they don't. I'm sure ESPN does not pay those players.
I don't know. I don't know. That's you know where told me that, by the way, and I'll use his name because you know him. We had him on our show. Remember Chris Fulton, the Bay Area high school basketball player of the year in 1983? He said that at Boise State, his son, a lot of these players would not do anything until they got paid for appearances, whatever, interviews. I said, wow, wow. That's how
Yeah,
they're
you
making
want
their money.
on that?
That's how they're making their cash. So,
Yeah.
and it's even crazier. Northwestern, for example, there's like they call it the $1 billion arms race within college football. So Northwestern received a $35 million commitment specifically for football only. 35 million, 35 million. Football only. So what does it mean? It's gonna enhance recruiting, facilities, staff, player support, NIL competitiveness, and obviously keeping in talent. So that's where we're at.
Yeah,
You
the
see
thing
what I'm
is,
saying?
they were usually not that great a football team,
So
but
here's a good
money
question for
talks.
both of you guys. Is our college football, and you, Edward, you'll understand this, are college football donations becoming the equivalent to venture capital investments now?
That's a good question. They kind of sound like it, don't they?
Yeah,
Yeah. Well, Russ, what do you
yeah.
think?
Well, we've always wanted college football to run like any other business. And so this is kind of the end result of that. You know, the college football isn't about sports. If it's really about being a business, then you're going to be making decisions based on, sheer monetary factors more than, the actual, outcome of sporting events. You're more
Have you-
interested, you don't care if you win or lose. You care if you have a profitable product. And that's
Yeah,
Yeah.
you
that's
always think of boosters, and you get Ohio State gets 100,000 people show up at their games, and you know, I don't know.
I mean,
well,
yeah, I
the
mean,
tournament's making every school feel, or soon one of these days it'll be probably 64 teams in the College Bowl, but already now 13 schools think they have a shot at becoming, the national champion every year, which wasn't the case before that. Before with the old BCS system, you could rule out 90% of the schools out there to have any kind of a shot at, the bowl, getting in a great bowl and then winning the bowl. And
Look at it though. Sometimes bowl games, these big players don't want to play because if they get hurt, it ruins their professional career, so they sit out. And never used to be the case.
well, yeah, no, but now it's much more about getting into that tournament and how much money that generates.
yeah,
And
and Russ and Edward, schools are trying to get really creative out of the box. Like what is it? Tosh Loophole, the new head coach in California. He talked about. I listened to his press conference, and he talked about the fact that it's just how, for example, Cal's trying to be really creative and generating more money. It's a money game. It's a money game. So what they're going to be doing, and at some point, Cal said about 81,000, 82,000. I think it's about 76,000 now. But guess what's coming back for the first time since the 80s, maybe early 90s? Almost 80,000 seats filled for concerts. They're going to start using Memorial Stadium for rock concerts. So
Huh.
what does that do? It generates a lot. Listen, you're going to get more people going to concerts than a Cal football game. But that's what they got to do. And I thought it was very interesting.
They just better not ruin the field.
It's turf.
Yeah,
It's
but
turf.
you never know. Raucous rock fans. You remember the old Day
Yeah,
of
I
the
don't
Rain?
know. I mean,
Those
what
are
you
not
got?
turf.
Any thoughts on that, or does anybody care? No. I
Okay,
mean,
no, I did want to
I,
mention though while we're in this segment about Mike Krukow
Okay, go ahead.
retiring and saying that he's done being an announcer for Giants baseball. I mean, he and Dwayne Kuiper have been doing that show for the side by side for 36 years.
Isn't that
And
long?
I've listened to just about every single second of that time that they've been together. And it's really, I don't think we're ever going to see another duo like that work together that many years doing. I mean, it's just the world of TV is too mercurial, and they never commit to anybody for very long as far as like an
Yeah.
announcing crew goes. And I think that's going to be
Isn't
something
Mike
that
having,
we'll just never
isn't he
see
having some
again.
health? Isn't Mike having some health issues?
Yeah, and that's the reason why
yeah,
he's not.
yeah, yeah. That's exactly why he's
Kuiper,
retiring.
yeah,
I mean,
Kuiper will still be doing it.
Okay.
listen. For people who don't know, Mike Krukow pitched in the in the majors for about 14 years. And again, we bring this up and just to bring it home for people because they don't know Giants baseball. So this is a national audience. We got to keep that in mind. Remember, Mike Krukow and Dwayne Kuiper were the Giants announcers. They still are, and they're just they have a chemistry that you can't buy, you can't teach. They just have it. At the same time, I love those guys. I really do. They're fabulous. But just for the sake of conversation, Russ says I don't think we're going to ever see anybody like that. But I'm telling you guys, all over Major League Baseball, there are so many unbelievably great and talented broadcast teams. We think San Francisco, it's like our little melting pot, right? But I got to tell you, you can go to Milwaukee, you can go to Chicago, Detroit. They're the best of the best. There's only so many of these jobs, right?
True. You're never going to have another Bob Uecker in baseball.
I mean, Uecker was awesome.
Right, yeah.
Vince Scully and
Harry Carey, come swing. Holy
exactly.
cow.
Oh,
No, I mean, the field is too mercurial now. They won't commit. No television station or broadcast company is going to commit to somebody and have them on the air for 32 straight years. It's just not going to happen.
Excuse me. How much time do we have? Quickly.
30 seconds. Go ahead.
Okay, listen. I'm ticked off. I'm almost pissed, and I'm going to call him out right now. What KNBR did to the 40 Greg Papa?
Yeah.
While he's battling leukemia, is disgraceful, disgusting, almost diabolical, in my opinion.
Yes.
Shame on them.
Yes.
Shame on them. They're disgusting.
And you know what?
Boycott the station. That's just not even human. That's not even human.
Mike, I want to add to this: the Warriors, the Niners, and the Raiders should all be helping out too. He shouldn't have to go to a GoFundMe to get paid to cover.
You're right. You're right.
Expenses.
Okay, guys, let's cut to our last break here.
I agree with you.
Benjamin Braddock. What movie do we associate with that name, Benjamin Braddock? Stay with us, Sports Econ 101. I'll be right back with some closing comments. Don't touch that dial. Welcome back to Sports Econ 101. Last time for today, I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Mike McDowd and Russell Jackman. Our third trivia question, Benjamin Braddock. What movie do we associate with that name?
Benjamin
Braddock. Now, I thought it was Cinderella Man because Braddock, but that's Jim Braddock.
I was thinking Master and Commander or something.
Well, you ready? The Graduate. Got to go back to Dustin Hoffman, 1968 for that one. All right. So again, Greg Papa, hey, he's got a GoFundMe page. I'm sure the audience, if you go search for Greg Papa,
please look it up if you can.
Donate if you can. Help this guy. He needs help, and I hope our show does you good.
Yeah, and he's been there for the Bay Area for so many things, so many wonderful moments, and it's just a shame. To me, this is what the evil part of corporate America is when they just look at the bottom line and say, we're getting rid of you because you're costing us too much.
You would think there'd be some kind of payout, and again, for the people who he worked for, you'd think that there would be some kind of something for them. Okay. All right, guys, ready? Here's our thoughts for the day. So my wife called and asked, do you ever get that shooting pain all over your body? Like someone has a voodoo doll of you and is poking it? And concerned, I replied, no. And she said, what about now?
That's good.
I like that one, right? And a recent study showed that women who are slightly overweight live longer than men who tell their wives about it.
You would mention it, yes.
Yes, they would mention it, yeah. All right, guys, we have 15 seconds. Any last words?
Yeah, let's say a prayer for Greg Papa. How about that?
Yeah, and peace home to Don Nelson.
Yeah. Gotcha. All right, audience, tune in next week to Sports Econ 101. We'll be discussing sports topics from a business perspective and asking more trivia questions. Thanks for listening. On behalf of our team, I'm your host, Edward Brown. We'll see you next week.
Adios.
You guys. Military.